Welcome to yet another incredible draft for the Ribbon Masters Draft League. I'm your host, Venty, and also...
Okay, fair enough.
Oh, yes, I also have another guest with me today.
Yeah, fellow supervillain in League.
You're not going to introduce yourself?
I need no introduction.
Oh, okay. Alright, Mr. Wolfmeat.
Alright, let's get into this.
Yes, Tablet, aka Canned Wolfmeat, is here with me today. And after two actually pretty long but feels like very short years, we're back finally for the 5th season of the Ribbons Draft League. I am the current reigning champion after season 4. And Tablet was actually the runner-up and was literally the closest set I've ever played in my life.
Current reigning runner-up, I suppose.
Current reigning runner-up. This is true. But yes, so basically, if you don't know what a draft league format is, basically you have a bunch of players, in this case 16, who have a pool of mons they can draft from. We do have 16 players, but we have 2 separate draft pools, and basically in these pool of Pokemon, which I'll just show on screen right now. Where is it? Here it is. You have a certain number of picks and points that you can spend to grab Pokemon from, and let's say I draft a Moongus first, then nobody else can take a Moongus. Basically, we're splitting this draft pool of Pokemon between 2 sets of 8 players. There will be a separate discussion of the other division. We are in the Nimbassa City division, and the other division is the Driftvale City division. And we'll be going over both sets of picks to go over the teams as a preliminary discussion before the draft, basically. And so basically you're forced to pick mons who are good and mons who are Mothin.
Less good.
Yeah, significantly less good. And it's about building balanced teams based on that. It's a really fun format. I love doing it. Whenever our r/Ribbons community does it, it's fantastic. So anyways, we can start. So on the Nimbassa City side, I tried to make my announcement first, but we ended up getting the gun was jumped, as it so was, by our other mod, Casey, linking one of our other people's choices. The first person's choice, which was Kiki. Also, in this division, I should say, this is very important, the players we actually have, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that would be, 1 second, I have it up here. I can just...
Do you want me to list them off?
Actually, yes, if you would like to, if you have it open already.
Alright, yes, so for our Nimbassa division, in their ranked order, as in the order which they get to make their first picks, we had Kiki, Haruhi, myself, Venty, Shroomer, Swiggus, Fire, and Xander, at which point the draft would then snake back up in the opposite direction, which means Xander gets to make 2 picks, then Zephyr, Swiggus, and so on and so forth, and then backwards and forwards between Kiki and Xander until we each made 10 picks.
Yes. And, also in both divisions, this is filled with only returning players from previous seasons. It's not like it was closed to only people who were returning from previous seasons, it's just,
they were just the ones itching to send in their applications as soon as the form went live.
Exactly, people were chomping at the bit for a new draft. So yeah, it's...
So everyone here has at least some idea of what they're doing.
Yes. At least some sort of idea.
Yeah.
That being said, to start with our first pick, which was done before I even got to make my announcement pick, was Kiki's first pick announced by Casey for her team, the Electric Evolutions, which was Ninetales from the start. Kiki wanted to make it Sun Team.
And a very good choice to immediately grab Ninetales. While it's not a tier 1 pick, it's still pretty much aside from Vulpix, it's the only Drought Pokemon, isn't it?
Yes, they're the only 2 Drought Pokemon this gen. Torkoal is T5 because he does not have this yet. He got that in Gen 7. Yeah, so if you want to build a Sun team, you have to draft one of those 2. And honestly, if you're building a Sun team, you should be drafting Ninetales if you're going with full Sun. So there we go. Ninetales first. And with our second pick, we have
the meta-defining Kyurem Black. Very much debatably one of, if not the most threatening and intimidating individual in this format. And unfortunately one that I was very much looking forward to possibly getting, but Haruhi did not come online fast enough for draft spiraling to change his mind, so Kyurem Black was immediately locked in.
Yeah, Kyurem Black, one of the strongest guys ever of all time. Literally, slap a choice band on this man, click Outrage, and something on the other side of the field has like a 95% chance of dying instantly, even if they resist it. It's actually fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
Crazy strong guy. You can run it mixed life orb. It's very versatile. It has actually quite a lot of coverage, deceptively. Yeah. Between Earth Power and Fusion Bolt, so again, you can hit a lot of shit super effectively and do some crazy damage with this guy.
Yeah, Kyurem itself in its base form is a fairly decent mixed attacker, so obviously black form and white form specialize physically and specially, but also still have access to that massive move pool, so it's very much a multi-level threat.
Yeah, absolutely. And for our third pick, we have yours.
Yep, having been robbed of Kyurem Black, I decided to sort of settle for Genesect. Well, settle is a bit of a harsh word. It's still a pretty powerful threat. But I mean, I feel like my main thing I have to watch out for here is that 4x fire weakness. But aside from that, Steel is a pretty good type in this generation, so I wanted to at least get one solid offensive option with it.
Oh, you know, I just realized we didn't say what tier, what format this is. We're so dumb. So this is Gen 5 Doubles OU returning from Season 2. Oh my gosh, I don't know how I didn't say this immediately. You could probably, yeah.
You can splice that in the beginning if you care to edit this.
Oh, I probably won't, but it's okay. We're only like a couple minutes in. So yeah. Yeah, that makes more sense. Well, people can kind of infer when we're talking about Ninetales. This is earlier. Yeah. But yeah, this is Gen 5 Doubles OU. Genesect, that's why also why Genesect is legal. His main is insane. Actually crazy. He can, like, probably the best mixed attacker to ever exist. Download gives it either attack or special attack boost. Your whole, like, enemy teams have to always, like, EV their mods one way or another to try to stop you from getting the boost they're more afraid of, and it's a complete crapshoot, and it's really annoying to do every time you're playing a Genesect team. And yeah,
I'm looking forward to not having to do that until I face against, like, Reggie, potentially.
Right? Yeah. It's crazy. I had him in Season 2. He's fantastic. His biggest weakness is just hidden power fires that will show up from the ether and one-shot you out of nowhere. Besides that, this man's crazy. Okay, so with that, I wonder how I can do this very carefully.
Yeah, I can't see what you're doing, but so I'll just sort of carry on. So for the fourth pick, we have... Well,
yo, let me do it, my friend.
Okay, oh, you got some flair with you, huh?
Yar har har! After plundering the championship title of the RML Season 4, the Miami Metagrosses have sailed to newer waters in Unova to once again wage our campaign against the Seven Seas. The Miami Metagrosses continue their stormy, flood-filled, drizzly quest for booty by drafting Polly! Or, a wise man once said, you either die a hero, or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain. Now that we have arrived at the most evil place of all, Unova, it is time for the Miami Metagrosses to enter their villain arc in this imperfect world. Presenting our first pick to lead this shadowy rogues gallery of scum and villainy. He is the Kingpin, who is the secret puppet master pulling the strings of all the elected officials of Unova to further his organization's nefarious agenda. Ladies and gentle frogs, give it up for the erupting egomaniac, the searing scapegoater, the malevolent molten Margrave, Heatran! So yeah, it's officially time. I could have gone for the Rain team again. I probably honestly should have. However, it's time to enter our villain arc. and we are going with a Heatran team. And honestly, the final product is kind of crazy, I'm not going to lie. Yeah, I mean, Tablet, you already knew about this going in, that this was going to likely be my pick, I think, right?
Yeah, you were so aware of that.
You're just still in shock from the fucking villain speech. But yeah, yeah, so, yeah, that's Heatran. I really wanted to build around him because he has some absolutely disgusting combos that can be built with him, because I wanted to do more of a Trick Room style setup. And I had some very key partners in mind, but we'll see that as we go along. But also, because of that, now, at the top of the screen, I will do some magic, some OBS magic. Look at this, bam! Our first 2 picks are here, Genesect and Heatran. Also, these, yes, these shiny Pokemon shuffle icons actually were done by, one second, I had him open. I actually have the artist this time. I'm a genius. Where is he? Aha! His name is Nude966 on DeviantArt, spelled N-O-O-D, N-O-O-D 966. He made shiny shuffle icons for like literally every mon ever, including into like Gen 7, 8, 9, which is fucking awesome. So thank you, dude. Very much appreciate it to add some flair to our visual draft. So yeah, with that we can move on to the next pick.
Yep, Shroomer, very very surprising pick here. Going straight for the what tier is this one even in? Was it like tier 3?
No, he's T2. He's really good in this format, unironically. So like usually just picking Breloom straight off as your first pick, it's kind of a complete sandbag. However, honestly in this one he's actually super good. But Shroomer is the #1 Shroomish, like Breloom Shroomish like enthusiast on the planet. And he literally always picks Breloom round 1 every single draft season, so yeah. Not surprising in the slightest, to be honest. Swig is next, going to pick the mayor of Value Town himself, Hitmontop.
Yes, very much described as roll compression throughout this draft.
Roll compression, the movie, the game, the movie. Literally, like, this man gets every move ever, Wide Guard, Fake Out, gets close combat to do actual damage, he has Intimidate, he literally gets everything. Every fucking thing you could ever want on a guy, and Mach Punch too, is all on this man. And that is why he is the best fighting type in the format, easily. T1, he's like every fighting type put into one guy, and he's super bulky. There's a reason he had a bunch of doubles championships wins in VGC under his belt. He's insane. Actually, go.
Absolutely. And going into the next pick, I feel like it's worth looking at these as a double, as in they're round 1 and round 2. The draft snakes back around here because these are very much complementary Pokemon picks that you kind of. It's very ideal for them to be at the end or the start of the draft because it allows them to just grab these 2 Pokemon like immediately after each other.
Yes.
And in that case, for Fire we have Tyranitar followed by Excadrill, and then for Xander we have Politoed followed by Thundurus. That's Incarnate, yeah.
Yeah, so Fire always wanted to draft Sand from the start, and he told me this like very early on in after release the draft tiers and stuff, and we're prepping. And because he's number 7, unless someone wanted to draft Excadrill first for the ultimate Sand Sweeper guy, they were not gonna be able to get to like Tyranitar and Excadrill, because then he could have just picked Hippowdon and then Excadrill, and no one could have really stopped him from doing it, because Xander wasn't really interested in Sand. I basically told everyone this in advance, and then everyone who was thinking about Sand was like, never mind, I'm not doing that. And so Fire, like, strong-armed his way into Sand. It's so funny.
And the permanent weather, that very much makes for a lot of chip damage over time if you can't deal with the Sandstorm.
Yeah, and also the synergy with their various rock types, etc. It's, you know, and T-Tar's also one of the best ones in the game anyways right now, like, regardless of being on the same team or not. He's kind of at the height of his, like individual power. And also threatens one of the most other dangerous mons in here, which is Latios with Pursuit. But yeah, so Fire gets that in Excadrill. Xander, so the funny part is, the reason why Xander got Rain is because I didn't pick it and no one else wanted to draft Rain for some reason. And so, I basically knew everyone's round 1 picks, going into this and warn the people under them, like, hey, if you're looking to grab this person, if they were like, oh, I really wanted to grab Kieran Black, and then, you know, like Tablet told me, I'm like, dude, I have bad news. Harumi says he wants it. There's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
And so it gave people time to think about drafting around different Pokemon and sped up the draft significantly. Which actually worked in everyone's favor. I didn't tell anyone anyone's second picks, because then that could get more messy, but yeah, the first pick just made it a lot easier for people to build teams around and not have their entire game plans explode at the very start. But yeah, so because I knew no one was grabbing Rain, Xander was like, I have no idea what to do. I almost never play doubles. Like, well, you could just draft these two guys who no one is picking for some reason, even though they're two of the best guys. Rain is easily the best weather, in my opinion. And Thundurus Incarnate is a fucking disgusting monster that has not been nerfed yet. 100% accurate Thunder Wave that can paralyze electric types. It gets every other support move with Prankster. It's disgusting.
Yeah, and in turn, you've basically created a monster at the end of this draft.
Yes. I might have gone too far.
Yeah, because like the rest of this team does look very intimidating overall.
I might have given him the rest of my discarded Rain tech that I was already playing when I was originally considering drafting Rain, and I might have given him too much. It's gonna be scary. But anyways, yeah. I guess moving on from this set of 4 of the big weather guys being chosen, we have Swigus grabbing his mascot pick for the Quebec Thundurus. Thundurus T. Super powerful. Him picking up Thundurus T was one of the reasons I decided not to go with Rain, because I wanted to go to Rain. I wanted to draft some cool-ass electric type like this. Honestly, maybe not the best reason to give up on picking the best weather, because again, this is Gen 5, and weather is permanent. Weather is permanent, unless overridden by another ability or by setting Sunny Day or Rain Dance or whatever. But yeah, he picks up his mascot pick, Thundurus T, super fun pick, super strong, 101 speed, hits like an absolute freight train with his moves. It is a crazy guy, all things considered. And I mean, new electric types, so with a Volt Sword. And then Shroomer grabs Mew so that he can have a second Breloom by transforming into it with his Mew.
Yeah, I mean, well, we don't know for certain what their strategy is, but that seems somewhat likely, considering their third pick was Ditto.
Oh yeah, spoiler alert, but yeah, their pick may or may not have been Ditto to have 3 Prelooms. The possibilities are endless, even though there's Sleep Claws and you can only spore 1 guy at a time. Oops.
Yeah, very much, as you said, potentially sandbagging by not only deferring their tier 1 pick from the first round, but also not even picking it for the second or third round.
Yes.
Although I suppose at that point, if you haven't picked your T1 already, you kind of... There's a potential advantage there in that you can then get a head start on the earlier tiers. As once everyone else has picked out their T1s, they're not going to be able to afford as many of them. So if you know that your preferred T1 isn't being picked already, then you can just sort of leave it till the end.
This is also true.
By the way, this is not... I'm not going to pretend this is an insane, amazing strategic play. This is just Shroomer going for like the funny strategy.
Yeah, but the thing about Mew, I mean, for a second pick, I'm not gonna lie, Mew isn't even a bad pick. Because, like,
that too.
He's like one of the ultimate draft guys ever, because you cannot counterplay him. Because he gets every move ever, and is already very bulky, base 100 across the board, super dangerous mon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is in the same way as Hitmontop being roll compression. This is just extremely versatile. There's like no way to really plan for it, because you don't know what it's going to be doing.
Yeah, especially if you're fighting them round 1, like I may or may not be doing.
Yeah.
You're all welcome for protecting you from future Mew strats. I have to be the guinea pig in this terrible experiment. But next we have my second pick, which is Jellicent. Yes, this is irreplaceable pick. I wanted to pair Heatran and Jellicent together because their type synergies are crazy. Again, Steel also resists Dark and Ghost in this gen. Still, it's unnerfed. And Jellicent is probably the best Trick Groomer in the tier, besides maybe Cresselia, but like also he can't get faked out, so arguably better than Cresselia. He is just like incredibly bulky, you know, and he's just like, yeah, he water absorbs, so he shits on rain teams. He's very great. This Jellicent in particular is a mob boss who is the one overseeing all illegal and legal contraband coming into the port of Castelia City. And if you don't want to end up sleeping with the fishes, you best not cross him. So,
is there such a thing as legal contraband?
Oh, I mean, probably. I don't know. Isn't contraband just regular shit?
Well, I mean, I'm pretty sure contraband in itself sort of implies that it's illegal, so illegal contraband is also just tautology.
Oh, maybe you're right about that. But
anyway,
anyways,
my second pick. Yeah, so for my second pick, I also sort of leaning into the idea of a slower team setup because I already had my T2 pick in mind. I went for Amoongus, which admittedly I sort of had a bit of immediate regret on that one because I was considering Cresselia for a while, and I sort of jumped on Amoongus without realizing that Cresselia was still available because for some reason no one else had drafted it at that point, and I just kind of assumed naturally if I didn't take Cresselia first, someone else would be swiping it up to sort of support their main T1 attacker.
Yeah, this man, I think as you were also wanting to go Trick Room anyways, so...
Yeah, which I'll sort of lean into when it comes to my third pick.
Yeah, this man is obviously very good in Trick Room. I mean, your move is as good on any team, honestly. He's insane double support, but, you know...
Yeah, and the alternative of not picking Amoongus meant the chance that I might have to fight against an Amoongus, which, while running Trick Room, would always be sort of a pain in the ass.
This is also true. You know, between Spore, Rage Powder, Toxic, every cool good support. I mean, I guess he doesn't have Pollen Puff yet, but whatever. He's still very, very good. And next we have Haruhi's draft pick, which is Suicune, and I asked them this after the fact, and I made sure to pick up Jellicent second for this exact reason, because honestly, like Jellicent feels like it's 100% like a 1000% on-brand Haruhi pick. And so that's why I wanted to pick it up first, because I'm like, if Haruhi's going to snipe any mod for me, it's going to be Jellicent. And I asked him after the fact if Jellicent was still on the table, would you have picked it as your second pick? And he's like, oh, absolutely, I would have never picked Suicune over it. So I narrowly dodged the destruction of my entire team. So that was good.
Yep.
And now it goes back up to the top pick, and Kiki picks her next two Mons, Latios and Shaman Sky, both T1 picks.
Yeah.
And on a Sun team, this is a super dangerous and very hard to deal with combo. Not because they necessarily benefit from the Sun itself that much, but because they're really good at killing shit that stops Sun. Like, Latios can blow up Kingdra, like, fucking Shaman can blow up bulky waters with crazy Seed Flare with a super high chance of lowering special defense, plus it gets Air Slash, Earth Power, tons of good coverage, and it's super dangerous. This thing hits like a freight train and is Omega fast.
I can also tell it's going to be good against, like, Sand teams as well, like, because they've got a lot of, you know, rocking grounds on the field. So having just, like, a really strong offensive grass type is going to be, like, a massive problem for them.
I think it can Oko T-Tar in Sand with Seed Flare, I'm pretty sure. So the thing is actually ridiculous. It's a nuclear bomb and a tiny reindeer hedgehog, man. It's actually crazy. So yeah, with the next one, we have Haruhi picking up Scizor.
Ah, yes.
And sniping it from Xander. So now he must grab a different skill type, because Genesect has already been taken by tablet, so...
Yeah.
And next...
Again, suffers the same fire-type weakness flaw, but otherwise is still very powerful, having, you know, access to, you know, Bullet Punch, Stab, Technician, that kind of stuff. Oh,
yeah, and, you know, he also has superpower this gen, so it has some fighting coverage. Not ideal as close combat, but, you know. And also still has Roost in this gen, which is the reason why I ended up dropping it last season, is because I really did not like using Scizor without Roost. I'm not as much of a fan of it. I really like being able to stick around for a long time with it. But in this gen, you can absolutely do that, and he's also one of the few setup sweepers who actually can just like safely click Swords Dance and then meme on people, because he's pretty freaking bulky. So next, your pick, Mr.
Yep, next pick. This was my this was my sort of planned out sort of sleeper tier 2 pick for this gen. I'm pretty sure it's tier 2, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the only tier 2 that I picked as well. So I just wanted to. Partly, I'll say this is sort of favoritism because I like Reuniclus and I've never really had a chance to use one, so I wanted to give it a try. But also on paper, I do think this thing is going to be incredibly powerful, and I think it's very much overlooked the last time this format was done. Because this thing has, very respectable special attack. It can set Trick Room. It gets Magic Guards, which is a pretty powerful ability, all things considered. And I think its other ability is Jet Regenerator, so if I was planning to pivot this thing in and out a bunch, I could also run it with that format.
Yeah, it is super. Yeah, honestly, when he made me actually look at Reuniclus when he was we were grabbing before, and I was like, holy shit, this guy is actually crazy. The strats I was cooking up the thing in my head were like, oh, this thing is super dangerous. I think
defensively as well, it's got a very good profile since it is barely any speed, so that extra stat distribution has gone towards giving it 110 HP, 75, 85 defenses, and very good 125 special attack.
Yeah.
This thing is fairly well min-maxed in a sense.
Yeah, its move pool is also very solid, tons of good coverage, tons of good support options. I think the biggest issue with it is it kind of has 4 move slot syndromes as a Trick Room Center.
Oh yeah.
But besides that, honestly, that'll happen with any Trick Room Center, right? But still, it is it's very, very, very powerful. And potentially one of the most broken Pokemon in the format if you use it right. And in certain matchups. But anyways, yeah, he's super good. I don't know why everyone slept on him last time, honestly. Oh, and here's my next pick. Our next pick is a famed crypto baron who made billions scamming people with pump-and-dump crypto schemes, including their previously immensely popular meme coin, Togecoin. Ladies and gentle schemes, the Miami Metagross draft Togekiss as their 3rd pick. I need to drink some water. Holy crap, that is hurting my throat. So the Toge. The Toge is crazy. This is the other Mon who was completely irreplaceable on my team, and if I got sniped, I was actually screwed. This man, is the canonical, actual husband of Heatran, but I don't mean that from my fucking organization's fanfic's point of view. I mean that literally, they are perfect soulmate partners for each other. Because holy crap, dealing with a Heatran protected by a Follow Me Togekiss is fucking impossible. It is literally impossible to kill both on the same turn like that. It's yeah. They work so well together because again, one's immune to ground, the other one's gets obliterated by ground. One's 4 times resistant ice, the other one, you can see, they just work very well together. Toge is probably the best redirector in the game, besides maybe you could argue Amoonguss. But Toge, honestly, is just so unfathomably bulky. If you think you know how bulky Togekiss is and you haven't looked at the stats in a while, look at it again, and then you'll see it is so much harder to kill than you'd think. And it has so much special attack, so even with no investment, it can sit there and send out really respectable damage with Air Slash to flinch stuff to death. It works in Trick Room because it's only base 80 speed, so it's not that fast and gets screwed by it. It gets tons of support moves, a ridiculous amount of coverage, and is just a Swiss Army knife. You can use it to dismantle so many teams because its coverage is so weird. It's very good. And was honestly, our original, Casey was the original champion of Season 2, and they also picked up a Heatran Toge combo, and that's where I fully saw how crazy this combo can be. And were you just looking at the stats of it?
Yeah.
What's the bulk again?
Let's see, that is a very threatening 85 HP, 95 defense, 115 special defense.
Yeah. Yeah, breaking through this thing is very... and it gets reliable recovery as well.
Oh yeah.
So, it can stick around for a very, very, very long time.
And it's also great for just flinch hacking with Serene Grace.
Oh yeah, don't forget that 60% chance to flinch. But yeah, And spoiler, as spoiler before, Schumer picks Ditto as their next pick. Swigus then grabbing Mr. Big Daddy Basketball and Chomp over here. Again, he wanted to pick up his next big dick attacker to pair with his Thunderous and his Hitmontop to actually like have big guns, since he drafted more of a support guy first and Hitmontop, and I think they all three pair very well together and had a very wide variety of types.
Oh yeah.
He be chomping.
Yep.
And next sorry.
Fire went in with Gastrodon for their round 3 pick to really sort of add into the Sands team.
This man does in fact get Sand Force. Also great anti-sand and anti-ring counter with Storm Drain. Yeah, honestly, him picking me up here makes a lot of sense. Otherwise, he could just get very easily run over by rain teams. So
yeah, it's the kind of thing you just need to bring a grass move for, because otherwise you just can't deal with it.
Exactly.
Gastrodon is always like a pain to deal with in these kind of formats.
Oh yeah, for sure. And then we have, oh god, this cursed ass gif of fucking Kingdra. Apparently the only gif of this mod for some horrible reason. Someone else please cap some gifs from the anime in the Orange Islands of Kingdra. Doing something, I beg of you. Or from the Johto anime. And then, so we have Kingdra and Ferrothorn as the picks for the Rain team. Makes complete sense. Honestly, he could have probably saved Kingdra as like his 8th pick or some shit, I'm not gonna lie. It's useless without a raid setter. And no one's gonna waste a pick just sniping it from him most of the time. But yeah, and Ferrothorn is like probably the 3rd best steel type, especially for rain teams, because killing this thing in rain is fucking impossible and awful. This thing is horrific. Like, the runner-up of Season 2, Bloomer, who was also running rain back then, had Ferrothorn as his steel type, and this thing was absolutely disgusting what it could do.
Speaking of annoying steel types, then Fire also picks Bronzong for their next pick.
Honestly, great pick.
Yeah, potentially run Trick Room setups, also just a good doubles when user has a heat-proof levitate, so it's hard to tell exactly what you can take it down with. Overall, just like a pretty solid option that's also like adds more bulk to their team, and also resists the Sandstorm chip.
Yeah, heat-proof will come in handy during the Sun week for sure, but also with levitate, he can Earthquake next to it, it's completely fine.
Yeah.
So this man will be sitting pretty. He has a lot of good support moves. Bronzong's a super strong pick in this format. It does a lot of good things really well, and Steel Psychic is a really broken type combo because you'll know it's weak to Fire and Ground right now.
Yep. And of course with Levitate, that leaves it with only a Fire weakness.
Exactly.
Which of course it can then also counter with Heatproof.
Yep, exactly. And then we got
very much Schrodinger's type resistance.
Yeah. Schrodinger's type, dude, actually true.
Yeah. Speaking of fire types.
Victini, the fieriest fire guy of all, with the strongest move in the game of 180 base power V creates, and it gets Bolt Strike for coverage. It has base 100 defenses across the board, but Victini is kind of frail because its fire psychic typing has like a billion weaknesses. But still super solid pick and is a nuclear bomb. And also Victory Star, increasing your team's accuracy, can be super relevant to give you 99% accurate rock slides. It's very good. It's a crazy good Pokemon.
Yep.
And then...
And also Final Gambit as well as a potential option with 100 base HP, I think.
Oh god. Yeah, it is the strongest...
potential strategy.
It is the strongest Final Gambit, which is, yeah, also terrifying. I was traumatized by that last season. Not by Victini Final Gambit, but by Final Game in general. In Season 2. Speaking of trauma, here we have Shroomer grabbing Rotom-Wash. I dared him to pick Smeargle for the 4th way of getting a 4th Breloom, and he was like, Lamau Rotom-Wash. So he finally picks his T1. Does Rotom-Wash need any introduction?
I wouldn't say so.
He is canonically he is the washing machine who has committed the most war crimes.
It's arguable how well it pairs with Shroomer's current team lineup, but then again, it doesn't really need to. It's just, it's Rotom-Wash.
You could slap this man on any team, and the team is probably better off with it.
Yeah.
Like, unironically, this guy is insane this gen. There's not really a whole lot of really good grass types to blow it up, outside of, like, Skyman, to be honest, but... good grass types are kind of in a really high demand, I'm not gonna lie. There's very few of them. Next, we have my next pick. We have our airline CEO, Latias, who whose airline has been having a lot of issues with their planes breaking down mid-flight. And some insiders have leaked that it's possibly the CEO shooting down these planes herself to get rid of rival airline owners and businessmen and whistleblowers mid-flight, so that her schemes cannot be revealed to the public. So I picked up Latias because in this format, having a good dragon is honestly key. And Latias has some absolutely disgusting tech you can run with some of the members of my team. She's also one of the few heal pulse users, so I can keep my guys healthy with her. Very bulky, very hard to get rid of, has still a very strong Draco Meteor, obviously not as strong as Latios is, but for a T2 pick, I really wanted to pick her up. I had some backups for her and like most of the other members in the team after I picked Togekiss, but yeah, she is super solid. Also, I can, you know, she just levitates, so I can Earthquake next to her. And she's a really good speedy pick whenever I'm outside of Trick Room. So, yeah.
Yeah, very good middle of the road.
Yes. And then...
for my next pick, I went for a sort of counterpart of Reuniclus as well. Reuniclus is very slow, specialized psychic type. I went for a also fairly slow, extremely strong physical fighting type in the form of Machamp. This was partly a pick just so I'd have like a very strong, slow physical attacker, but it also has some utility with it in the fact that it can use Wide Guard. And adding to that, the access to No Guard for like Rock Slides and like Dynamic Punch also gives it a bit of sort of surprising utility. As well as the potential of using Guts to just negate, you know, burn status, because that's always annoying for physical types.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's super dangerous. And plus, the 100% accurate Rock Slides is so nice to have. Never having to worry about that mischance. Definitely, yeah, a more offensive one, fighting type for sure. Doesn't have Fake Out, but still. Also not having to worry about all the millions of status that will be thrown around in this format is also very nice.
Yeah. Speaking of air fryers.
So yeah, speaking of that, Liquid Trevenants, then get Rotom Heat. Honestly, probably one of the most broken mons in this entire format. It is I think he might be even worse to deal with than Rotom Wash, because actually hitting this man, he's only weak to like water and rock. I was only able to defeat Rotom Heat last draft by Prankster tricking it in Iron Ball, so that it would lose Levitate and I could Earth Power it to death. This thing is absolutely disgusting, super freaking dangerous with Overheat, the Draco Meteor clone, and can deal with basically anything it needs to. Honestly, good on Haruhi for noticing and sniping this guy up while he still had the chance.
And also removes a very big threat to Caesar at the same time.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Because now you have it on your team. And then we have Kiki's next two picks. Honestly, I feel like she could have saved Venusaur for pick 8 or something, like, because no one was going to pick that thing if they didn't have Sun.
Yeah.
But, I mean, Venusaur is also just one of her most desired mons in general, so I totally understand picking it here. It's super dangerous with Sun.
This is also definitely where Kiki's Sun team very much starts to form an extremely intimidating lineup.
Yeah, between Chlorophyll Sleep Powder shenanigans with Venusaur and Typhlosion being able to erupt people to death.
Oh yeah.
He doesn't have Flash Fire yet. None of the Johto starters do. They don't have their hidden abilities. But still, I mean, Sun Boosted Eruption is Sun Boosted Eruption. I mean...
For sure.
And I was sad to see this one get picked up. Not because I was planning on picking it. It was more of a... man, if I wanted to pick it up later, I currently can't. Which is my boy, the Secretary of Defense, Tim Howard, Deoxys Defense, being drafted by Haruhi. Probably one of, if not possibly the best Psychic type in the format. It has been buffed from T4, where it was last time the biggest Steel Mon of all time, of a bargain, to T3. And still, even at T3, I think he's absurdly good, because crazy defense is base 90 speed, so he's still really fast. You can run him as a Trick Room support. He gets Ally Switch. Him and Mew are two of the only Psychic types that get Ally Switch this gen. Like, not even Dusclops gets it. Like, very few mons get it. there's a lot of really disgusting sets you can run, including a couple I noticed during practice, which I'm like, holy crap, if Present Me were using this, I don't know how someone would figure out, I don't know how anyone would actually beat this thing.
Yeah.
This is nasty. This thing is honestly unkillable. It is so annoying. It can boost on you with Nasty Flutter, Calm Mind, and then it's super annoying to kill, or impossible, and it can just sweep your whole team. And its coverage is crazy. It gets Bolt Beam, it gets all these different moves for coverage. And also Rock Slide for literally no reason. But yeah. And then we have your pick, Mr. Blett.
I had to go for... Prankster is obviously a very good ability to have on the draft team. And of course I had to go for my sort of main representation and pick Sableye.
Super on brand.
Partly just for like the favoritism, but also, you know, having a ghost type with fake out is a pretty good option. Just being able to like counter other potential users for it. Annoyingly, dark types don't get prankster immunity in this generation, so it's not as powerful as it could be, but it's still got a very decent amount of options for just really screwing with the opponent.
Yeah, it's the one guy that gets priority Will-O-Wisp. It also is a ghost type with fake out, which is super rare.
Yeah.
And having fake out support, I got like this is honestly awesome. You can use like Prankster Recover, so you can stick around for really long. He's pretty frail naturally, but you know you can beef it up with the right investment and stuff to make it so you can like take a few hits. Really fucking annoying mon to deal with, especially like Prankster taunts, etc. Super annoying. Very good mon. Casey also had this as their Prankster user last time when they won in season 2. Yeah, just very good. Also, no weaknesses, which is nice.
Yeah.
Our next fighter. I don't know if my voice can survive it, but I will say, the next member of our crime syndicate ousted a noble dojo master in order to bring in his underhanded fighting style, and has been, you know, truly a dishonorable but effective fighter, and that would be our boy Hariyama. This is a world that contains no more heroes. So basically, I was really torn here between grabbing Conkeldurr or Hariyama, and I expected one of these two mons to be gone by now, and they are not. they are not. And basically, I was like, okay, I'll just pick either this. I'll pick Conkeldurr, and then Conkeldurr's gone, I'll grab Hariyama, and if Hariyama's gone, then I will grab Scrafty as a backup. There's no way all three of them will be taken. And then none of them were taken. And I was like, fuck, what do I do? And so instead, I was really debating for a while on whether to grab Conk or Hariyama, because Conk's damage output with Iron Fist is actually ridiculous. It, like, Hammer Arm gets boosted by Iron Fist, which I did not know. It technically counts as a punching move, and it does 70% to Latios. Like,
yeah, that is nuts.
So if you don't resist, and that's resisted. So if you don't resist it, Lamau, like, goodbye. Like, later, man. Like, how the fuck are you dealing with that? The one that, like, the big downside is that he doesn't get close combat, so you're stuck with Hammer Arm, and that's a 90% accurate move, and I was a little iffy about that. And also, Hariyama just gets, they're very similar mons, but the main difference is that Hariyama gets Fake Out, and Conkeldurr gets Mach Punch, whereas, you know, Hariyama only gets Bullet Punch as their other priority moves, not Fake Out. And the damage it can do with Mach Punch is crazy on Conk, but, like, at the end of the day, I was like, Fake Out's way too good. If I pass this up, I'm actually sandbagging, and it can let me get so many free Trick Rooms off with Fake Out support, and really help me, like, deal with some, like, almost dead mons in Fake Out range, and just allow me to take back control of the battle very easily with him. Super bulky guy, Omega slow for Trick Room purposes, still hits like a truck, has guts so you don't have to worry about getting burned and getting absolutely doomed. Absolutely great mon. I drafted this underhanded dojo master and leader of an illegal, deadly fighting ring where combatants fight to the death. And with that, we move on to Shroomer's pick of Whimsicott, which I was very sad to see taken off the table, not because I was going to necessarily draft it, but because this is probably the best prankster user in the game.
Yeah, it is the iconic Generation 5 prankster support Pokemon. Even now to current generations, it's persisted as like just a super versatile and powerful support Pokemon.
This man is still placing like tons of high placements at the World Championships even to this very day. And even without Fairy type, even without Moonblast, all the rest of their move pool is here. Every single piece of it. You get the most one of the most powerful things, I think, which is Prankster Trick. It gets Switcheroo, same move. But not only that, it gets Tailwind, it gets Helping Hand, it gets literally everything. I think it gets, doesn't it get Thunder Wave? Or am I insane?
I'm pretty sure it does. I mean, I can double check, but yeah.
Yeah, it also gets Prankster Taunt, which is super, super, super powerful. Yeah, this guy is like everything you'd ever want in a prankster guy, and still hits hard with, like, you know, Energy Ball, Giga Drain, whatever. It hits hard enough, so it's not just a sitting duck. And also,
what? It doesn't get Thunder Wave, but it does get Stun Sport, which is like just slightly worse.
Slightly worse, 75% accurate, but still can hit and absolutely destroy people. It also gets Fake Tears, so you can debuff a guy, like destroying their special defense stat, and then you nuke them from orbit with your other partner.
Trick Room, or just like, I guess, undo Trick Room if you need it for that.
It also gets Trick Room, and it's very, very, very dangerous, because it can go Tailwind or Trick Room. Honestly, it's useful in any team type. It's the fastest prankster user, meaning that it always gets its taunts off first to stop other prankster users, even faster than the genies. So, sad to see it thrown or taken off the shelf. Honestly, I might have taken this as a T3. Like,
yeah, the fact that it's a T3 is honestly kind of crazy.
Yeah, I think it's there because, not TT, because people think the loss of the Fairy type is really that big a deal, but I don't think it is. Honestly, I think the thing is actually crazy. But that's just me. Speaking of Cotton, we have our next Cotton guy, which is, I love this gift so much, of Jump Fluff being sent to the void. Swiggus picking up Jump Fluff super early. I don't know why he thought it'd be sniped. Maybe by Kiki, maybe that's what he was worried about. But this is his anti-Sunmon that he picked. You know, in Sun, I mean, even without Sun, right? It's the fastest chlorophyll user, like base like 120, 125 speed, some crazy shit like that. For crazy fast sleep powders, tons of support moves like Helping Hand, a bunch of other stuff I don't remember. It gets all the powder moves if you want, Toxic. It also gets Flying Gym Acrobatics and just Acrobatics in general, so you can do actual damage, like not zero damage with this thing. So very solid T4. It was originally in T5, but he could not, after using it last season, he couldn't let it stick in T5 when we were tearing this stuff. He's like, no, it's just way too good.
Yeah.
And then we have Fire's pick of Swampert, one of his favorite mons ever, and definitely works on the sand team. Also another Water Ground. Although now it does make bringing a grass move against him a lot less of an issue, because you're not even just bringing it to kill Gastro, you're killing it to bring Swampert, or you bring it to kill Swampert too.
Yeah, like, I'm pretty sure, sorry, just double check a typing 1 second, but yeah, like at this point, Grass is now strong against like 3 of his 5 picks, with not even accounting for the fact that it's 4 times effective on Gastrodon and Swampert.
Yeah.
So it does make it a bit more predictable to plan for, even if it does mean having to set like hidden power grass on a few things.
Yeah. So next we have Xander's next 2 picks. I should not have. Maybe I shouldn't have revealed these to him. So Relicanth at T4 and Gorobus at T3. Yeah. So Gorobus is very, 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 very scary. It's a Swiss swimmer. That has base 114 defense for no reason, so it does not get, it's not actually frail, despite probably looking like it should be. It also gets Shell Smash. And it also, for some reason, gets Muddy Water. I don't know where it got Muddy Water from, how it gets it, through like what method, but it has it, meaning that it like Kingdra, it can spam Muddy Water and just obliterate the other side of the field without harming your own with Surf. This thing is super dangerous. I am very scared of it. Everyone else should be too. And then Relicanth, my boy, my absolute guy, the poggest of all fish. I love this man. He's honestly a really good anti-rain mon, because you can, again, it's not that slow in Swiss Swim, and you can use it with, you know, very fast rock slides, and it also gets Earthquake and a ton of other really good coverage. So it's actually really solid as a different kind of rain mon, while being very, like, a lot cheaper than something like Caracosta. Although Caracosta also gets some shy stuff because it also gets Shell Smash. Anyways, but yeah, I love Relicanth. I'm so happy to see him here. I love this man so much. One of my favorite mods of all time.
Yeah. Going into Fire's round 6 pick.
Yes.
And I'm having another look at his like completed team here. I'm noticing a very worrying pattern for him. In the fact that out of this 6th pick, he now has like 4 Pokemon that have a 4 times weakness.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, Tyranitar's weak to fighting, Gastrodon and Swampert to grass, and then Flygon ice.
Oh my god, you're totally right.
And then he proceeds to pick, spoiling slightly, but then 3 more Pokemon that also have 4 times weaknesses.
I didn't even notice that! Oh no!
Yeah, with like 4 moves, you get like complete coverage over his whole team.
Dude, this is... Oh no! Oh no!
So I mean, yeah, on Excadrill, Tyranitar, extremely threatening, but this could bode poorly for Fire's performance over the course of this league.
Yeah, we'll definitely... We'll have to see. Oh man.
Yeah, I imagine they might be making some transactions after their first few matches.
I think that's a decent possibility too. Next we have Swigus's pick for Alligator in T5. Yes, you heard me right. This man is T5. He does not have Sheer Force. No hidden abilities for these Johto starters. I looked at his base stats and I was like, my god, this poor man is so broke right now until Gen 6. Oh no. And then he was, and when we were carrying, it's like, well, I guess we could just throw him T5 on. I was like, what the hell is this man actually doing? Is it a bargain steal pick for T5? Absolutely, it definitely is, but we were okay with that. And Swigus snapped it up. Because, yeah, it's still a whole ass for Alligator. He still does get Dragon Dance. He can technically do stuff after getting a booster, too. So, yeah, really good T5 pick. He wanted to snatch out of the way before somebody else did. I don't blame him. Schumer next grabs Dragonite, which was one of my backups for Latias. That was my second backup for Latias. Yeah, this guy, so obviously he gets multi-scale now, super dangerous. Gets a billion different types of moves. Gets Hurricane this gen for anti-rain tech. And yeah, just all around absolutely crazy Pokemon. You can sweep, you can boost up with it with like either Agility or Dragon Dance. Super good, honestly, just all around, and very bulky.
Yeah.
And then it was my turn. And in the biggest plot twist of the century, if any of you have seen my Season 2 matches, remember how I was obliterated by Bloomer in the final round by his rain, or not in the final round, the first round of playoffs by his rain team that featured this dastardly villain, this unfathomable war criminal, this deadly gang leader who has taken over the seedy criminal underworld of Black City with an iron fist, or should I say wing. None who can match his brutality and wicked cunning, Murkrow, the Corvid of oppression. So out of the prankster users, I was very torn on which one to pick. I basically had my pick of anyone who wasn't Whimsicott at this point, or I guess Sableye. Last time I used Volbeat, and he was amazing. I brought him to, I think, literally every single match. I brought Volbeat with me. He has almost everything. The one main move he was missing was Taunt. And Murkrow took advantage of that and absolutely blasted me, and I had no counterplay to it whatsoever. Also, Murkrow is one of the fastest prankster users. It's like third fat. It's like in like I guess the third tier. It's like 90. I think it's like 95 or 85 or something. But it's faster than the Hoenn Fireflies. It's faster than everything besides like the Genies and Whimsicott. It gets both weather moves. It gets tons of it gets Tailwind obviously, and it actually can stick around for quite a long time with Eviolite. And it has an actually usable attack stat, so it can still do damage on the side. And also just gets Nightshade if you want, so you can always do real damage with it without any investment. Very strong. I decided I wanted to use him. There's a lot more that's crazy shice stuff it gets that I forgot about or was informed by Bloomer. Because I asked him for his crow secrets, because we're on the opposite sides of the draft this time. And he has imparted quite a few very interesting texts to me that I am interested in eventually showing off. And next we have your pick, Tablet.
Mm-hmm. At this point, I wanted to also grab a bit more utility for my team. At this point, Reuniclus was the only Pokemon that had access to Trick Room, so obviously I wanted to get a second option, and one that was a bit more support-oriented. Obviously, Reuniclus has a lot of support utility in itself, but I kind of ideally wanted to use it more as a special attacker. So to assist it, I decided to bring in Claydol. This has access to, you mentioned earlier, Deoxys defense being really good for having ally switch, which Claydol also gets, and also has a fair amount of like defensive bulk to make use of it. It also has rapid spin for hazard clearance just in case, and as mentioned, Trick Room access. So all around, I think is a pretty solid pick for its tier.
Yeah, and it also getting ally switch, crazy good tech. Yeah, very solid mon all around. Also very annoying to hit, honestly, with its 50 fucking immunities. Jesus, it was so annoying fighting it in practice. I was like, how do I kill this stupid piece of shit? But yeah, then we have our boy Haruhi grabbing actual power in Landorus T, who in practice I was like, damn, this man is so strong. What a great guy. What a great dog this man is.
Yeah, the classic cat of healthy battles meta.
Ah, yes, the genius of healthy meta. Everyone's favorite guy. This fucking guy is crazy. He also needs no introduction, to be honest. I'm not gonna lie. It's Lando T. Next we got Kiki's picks. Mienshao is their fighting type and fake out user. Very solid regenerator. Has just enough bulk to stick around. Does a shit ton of damage. Doesn't get close combat this gen. Has to rely on high jump kick. But Kiki was very well aware of this when she drafted it. And then also picked Leafeon as one of their T5s, one of their favorite mons ever. That she loves figuring out ways to make broken for no reason, because it's funny. She's gone to real tournaments, including in Gen 9, where she has made teams with Leafeon and watched it absolutely destroy people. She is, she cooks when it comes to coming up with crazy shit like this. But yeah. And next we get my next pick, and not my next pick, excuse me. This is for Haruhi's. Yeah. You'll see my name a lot because I had a lot of people's draft picks in advance to post to them while they were out or on a different time zone. And so here, Haruhi grabs your prankster user, which is Illumise, one of the best prankster guys. Interestingly enough, I noticed this. What was the move it doesn't get that's really cringe? It doesn't get Seismic Toss. Yeah, Volbeat somehow gets Seismic Toss, but with its hidden ability, but Illumise doesn't, and I think it must be like weird breeding mechanic stuff. That must be the reason why.
Potentially, yeah.
But yeah, it's really unfortunate, and because of that, I think unironically Volbeat is easily the better choice of the two now, because before it was a matter of like you'd get either Trick, or like Trick for Volbeat and Wish and some other like healing support moves like Aromatherapy from Illumise. And that was like the main difference, but they were fairly equal. But now knowing that it doesn't get Seismic Toss, I think is kind of a huge bummer, honestly. So yeah, but still, Illumise is still very solid. It has basically every other support move you'd ever want on its Tailwind, the Weather Boost. It's very solid all the way around.
Yeah, and speaking of Volbeat.
Oh yeah, speaking of Volbeat, how did you not get sniped on Volbeat? I think Haruhi just likes Illumise more, which is fair.
Yeah, like I was initially planning to hold off on Volbeat for like at least one more turn. I had another pick in mind, which ended up being my round 8 pick, that I was worried Fire would end up snatching from me. But as of like round 6, I'd planned initially. I knew that the pranksters and like the more like utility focused Pokemon would end up being like quite valuable, and like as the draft went on, people sort of moved down the tiers. They were going to get snapped up quite quickly. So I'd planned fully to have either Murkrow, Illumise, or Volbeat on my team without really like devoting myself too much to any one of them, because I knew that I'd probably be sort of fighting for scraps at that point. And seeing Murkrow and Illumise get snapped up that fast made me realize that I should just gun it and I'll grab Volbeat, and that's what I did. And I somehow stumbled into, I guess, like evidently the better of the two bugs from that.
Yes.
But yeah, I don't really have anything else to add to that. I mean, as Venty just said, Illumise and Volbeat get like a very wide move pool. They have a lot of interesting tech. They're like fairly durable despite not being like Eviolite compatible. and I think this one is just generally when I'm not running like Sableye for like specific disruption on the other team, I'll probably be running Volbeat for like support.
Yeah, Volbeat and Illumise are deceptively tanky. On paper, they don't look like they are at all, but Pure Bug is actually a far more annoying type to hit than you'd think. I guess I should say.
I feel like a lot of bug-type Pokemon generally have their other weaknesses targeted when they're like multi-types.
Yeah, but with just Pure, you have a decent bit of common move resistances of Fighting Ground and a bunch of other stuff, and it's just like, yeah.
Yeah, Fighting Grass and Ground resistance, and you get the only weaknesses are Fire, Flying, and Rock, which Rock obviously is like a bit of a problem with how prevalent Rock Slide is, but otherwise, you know, Flying isn't generally going to be like brought that often.
Yeah, very few months get it.
If someone's bringing Fire, it's generally going to be quite telegraphed because they'll be running like a Sun team or like an obvious Fire attacker.
Yeah, and you can kind of just, there's a lot of counterplay they have. They're very good mons.
Yeah, you can work around it for sure.
Yeah, super solid. Again, Volbeat became one of my favorite mods of all time. I never gave a shit about this mod before we did that season of draft, my first one. And then this man was like the star of my whole team that was like saving me every week that everyone was dreading to fight. I had someone launch a fucking V-Create into this thing to get rid of it. That is how much they didn't want to deal with it. But the best part is, if they ever focus on your Volbeat, they probably lost because then your partner just kills their guy. But if they leave it on the field, they're stuck dealing with this thing being the most annoying piece of shit possible. Also gets Roost for no reason despite it being a flying type, so it can stick around forever. Very, very devilishly annoying mons. I love them so much. But anyways, for my next pick, this guy got moved down to T4. I have no idea how this happened, and I said nothing. I said absolutely nothing. I was like, yep, sounds good, because I wanted to snipe this one up, and that was Rotom-Mow, who is the head of an evil agriculture megacorp that's been infecting local farmland with their infectious seeds to then find them and basically steal all their product. Common practice for a lot of megacorp companies in general, but Rotom-Mow, it basically perfectly fits the typing profile of my team. I had no electric type, no grass type. This man, it's the ultimate fuck you to electric types that's not actually a ground type. Quad resists it, resists water, so I have another mon that's really good into rain. You can run it with like Leaf Storm, electric move, and then you run it with like whatever other hidden power type you need, and you can get basically like perfect coverage against most things. It also gets Trick, so if I need to run it to give some horrible item, I can do that. I can also run it with Will-O-Wisp, obviously. I can run it more bulky, I can run it faster. It hits very, very, very hard, like all the Rotoms do. It's very, very solid. I can obviously pivot with Volt Switch. So yeah, I'm not entirely sure. I haven't figured out a base set I really like on this thing yet. I'm not I'm still evaluating it. I might swap it out eventually, but honestly, its typing is too good. It's too good of a value at T4, so I had to snap it up here before someone else noticed it was so good for the tier it's stuck in. So yeah, it's only weak to like Fire, Ice, and Bug. Yeah, very weird types that you can hit. That was like the only ones you can really like hit it with for super effective. So a very annoying spread to actually hit. And then Shroomer picks Gothitelle. I don't know where his team is going. I'm very confused. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, a little bit.
I will say
the Breloom theming seemed pretty clear for the first 3 picks. Everything after that has been kind of a little bit everywhere.
I will say though, his picking mons that can transform into other mons is actually very valuable, because then you can just like out your opponent immediately, like catch them in 4K and see all their sets, and know exactly what they're doing, and it could save you immediately, depending on who Ditto is transforming into. It always transforms into the thing on the opposite side of the field from whatever slot it's in, but still, like, that is very dangerous information that he can just gain at any time. So yeah, it's harder to run, I guess, gimmicks against to them if it's immediately ruined by him knowing what's coming. And then next, Swiggus picks Blissey. His gifts have been on point this whole time. Kind of as an anti-rain pick so that he can just live every special attack forever. Blissey's very good. It gets a lot of really good support boosts. It can live everything. Seismic Toss, so it always does actual damage. Yeah, also gets the weather moves, I'm pretty sure. Like, I think it might get, I think it might even get Sandstorm and Hail as well for no reason.
I feel like I'm not sure if it gets Hail because that's pretty restrictive, but I mean, yeah, it doesn't get Hail. But
oh, it doesn't get Hail? It gets Sandstorm though, doesn't it?
I think so. Let me just pull it up quickly. No, actually, it doesn't get Sandstorm either.
Oh, well, I'm just a liar then. Anyways, moving on.
It only gets Rain Dance, it doesn't get Sunny Day either.
Wait, really? Wow.
Yeah, I was just kind of going along with that because I assumed you knew better, but yeah.
I think I'm thinking of some other random normal type that gets Hail and the other weather moves for no reason. I don't remember.
Yeah.
Who's not
Cast
Form.
It gets Rain Dance to be like, because it's like the alternate version pick of Reuniclus, and that one gets Rain Dance. So I feel they probably have like fairly similar movesets.
I see. Well, I'm just totally wrong then. Excuse me. I am a fool. Anyway, speaking of normal types, because Clef is still a normal type, it's Clefable. Yeah, a decent redirector with Follow Me. It gets, you know, Unaware. It gets Magic Guard. It gets a lot of really good abilities. It doesn't have Moonblast yet, and it doesn't really have the resistances it has later because it's, again, still just normal type. There's some hilarious sets you can do, like my trademark Reggie Brand Clef Zodia set. But you know, it just has a lot of good support moves it can run. It's T4 now. I'm still not sure how it got moved up from T5 to T4 because I don't think it did that much to deserve it, but it is still very good. So I can see it.
Yeah, well, one thing I do want to say, I also want to issue an immediate correction. Blissey does get Sandstorm. I thought we were still talking about Gothitelle.
Oh, we're back! Wait, what about Hail though?
Yes, it does.
I was right! Blissey does get all the weathers. I'm a genius. Oh! No longer on Fraud Watch! Let's go!
Yeah, I'll admit I sort of like zoned out for a second. I thought you were still on Gothitelle, so that's on me.
Yeah, okay, so Blissey does in fact get all 4 weathers for literally no reason. Hail is actually such a limitedly distributed move, like literally almost only water types and ice types get it, except for like randomly Blissey and obviously random shit like Castform, but like yeah, because he's the weather guy, duh. But yeah, it is bizarre, I don't know why she gets it, but anyways.
Yeah. Clefable is still also pretty good. This is one that actually got sniped from me. Like I was very much considering Clefable on my team for just sort of stacking up on Magic Guard options, and also because it gets Unaware, which is quite powerful. But
oh yeah,
I just had to sort of pivot around that.
Yeah.
Thanks to the Rain team.
Xander grabs Seismitoad, another Swiss Swimmer, but also gets Water Absorb for anti-rain tag. Oh, he's removed a bunch of the anti-rain mons, which is a little scary. And then he also has, you know, it's also Water Ground, fits his profile, he doesn't have one yet, so it works. And then he has our good friend Maynetric here as a Lightning Rod mon, that fits his team better than certain other Lightning Rod mons that are on the table, because it's faster and his whole team can be around mostly fast guys in the rain. Again, it gets fire coverage to deal with some steel types guys, like it gets Flamethrower, Overheat, a lot of stuff like that. Hidden Power helps a lot this gen. And yeah, no, it's just solid for protecting his other water types against electric guys. And then we get Fire Festival with Fortress, get another 4x weak mod. I'm not entirely sure why he picked it up. I'm not gonna lie.
Seismitoad or Maynetric?
Oh no, I mean Fire with Fortress.
Oh yeah, sorry, again, I'm lagging behind here.
No, you're good.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, I suppose it is to have access to like a potential like hazard clearance. Like, Fortress does have its utility, but at the same time, it's, as I mentioned before, this is just compounding on the fact that a majority of his team just has the same like 4 times type weaknesses.
Because he already has a steel type, and
yeah,
every mon on his team resists rocks besides Clefable. So I don't really know why he would ever care about wearing that has. Also, I think every one of his mons can set Stealth Rocks. Like, I think literally all of them.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of confused at this pick. unless it's to have an anti-trick room on, in which case, I mean...
Yeah, strong gyro ball could be an option.
It does have very, very, very strong gyro balls, but also so does Bronzong. So I'm not sure. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll either see it get used in the next couple of weeks or it'll get traded out.
Yeah.
But, yeah, speaking of 4x weaknesses.
Oh yeah, our boy, Weavile. Honestly, I could have probably, at this point in time, I realized, I have almost all special attackers on my team, except for Hariyama. I should probably have another physical guy, and I didn't realize that, like, Weavile was right here in T3. I was like, he probably would have been good to have, to be honest. He doesn't get buff knockoff isn't a thing. He has still 20 base power and doesn't get powered up when you knock off an item. That's in Gen 6 that happens. It's 20 base power. He doesn't get Icicle Crash yet, which is dire, actually. So it's stuck with Ice Punch and Night Slash, but with gems he can, like, salvage a lot of his damage output, and he gets Fake Out, obviously. Still very solid mon, nuclearly fast at, like, base 125 or something, with a very good attack stat. And 2 very relevant stats in this meta, so. But anyways, yeah.
Then we had a bit of a wait for the next pick.
Oh yeah, because he tried to pick a Zero, he didn't have the points for it. And then he instead went for Wigglytuff.
The other rabbit, yeah.
Does it get Follow Me? I don't think it does, right?
Nope, no Follow Me on Wigglytuff.
I don't think it's competitive this gen. I think it's Gen 6.
Yeah, it just has Cute Charm and Frisk, which Frisk has, potential for just sort of intel gathering.
Yeah. So maybe that. I'm not sure. It's a Shrimmer branded pick for sure.
It's also got a bit of a randomness because it only finds one opposing item.
Wait, it doesn't reveal both?
No, it only does one.
In Gen 5?
Yeah, Gen 6 they changed it so it does both, but...
That's so bad.
Yeah,
what
Gen
the
4 and
fuck?
5 it is one random opponent, so it doesn't even decide based on which side you switch in.
That's so ass. What the hell? Well, anyways, here we go. In my next pick is a guy I had been wanting to draft from the start after finding out about its applications. This man is our boy Marowak, a corrupt grave robber who robs the sacred burial sites of all Pellucid City for the bones of powerful legendary dragons, other buried artifacts, and, potential, I guess, organ farming to sell on the black market because, so yeah, helps as one does, helps provide this shadowy organization with additional funds or powerful treasures. But anyways, yeah, this guy, great Trick Room mon, base 45 speed, just surprisingly bulky. I was worried about this thing being super frail, but I have nothing to worry about with this man. He can easily take some hits. And with obviously Thick Club, he hits like a fucking freight train. Literally ridiculous. I don't like how much damage this man does. It is disgusting. I love this guy, and this is 100% the right pick here, and I'm so glad I went with it. I'm very excited to show him off in the season. Like, he's crazy.
Yeah, and in the limited sparring I've seen it in, it was very much a monster, so this is going to be a big threat to deal with that people probably aren't getting super prepared for.
Weirdly enough, this man gets like every other ice move in the game. He gets Ice Beam, Blizzard, so much stupid shit. It doesn't get Ice Punch. It gets Fire Punch and Thunder Punch, but not Ice Punch, which is so annoying because it's like, guy, why? Why would you do this to me? That is one annoyance, but besides that, like, this guy is honestly insane. I'm very excited to show him off later. And has a lot of really annoying options he can run as well. So he has a lot more depth than you initially think of just being the wacky Bone Man. But speaking of wacky Bone Men, or just wacky men in general, we have your next pick. Wacky Stone Man, yes!
Yeah. This was the pick that I was worried would get sniped the most. Because I felt like if Fire realized how good Regirock could be in Sands and with like Trick Room support from Bronzong, this thing could have been like a real nightmare to deal with. But thankfully, they went for Fortress instead. So I was able to get my hands on Regirock. It feels like Registeel has its use in there being a steel type, but like its overall like offensive options and like utility isn't that great. But with Regirock here, I've got, you know, clear body resistance to like stat drops, so I can kind of freely just set up like Curse or something, and then like a lot of decent offensive options as well. Like I think this thing is, despite being a later draft pick for me, I do think this is going to be probably one of the better performing ones on my team when I'm able to use Jerk Room.
Yeah, honestly for T4, it's honestly a steal. I don't know why Registeel is T3. It doesn't really... I don't know what it does. It just has like all my friends are dead syndrome. No one drafted it. I think it's too high. I think all the Regis should just be in T4. I guess besides Gigas, but yeah. Yeah, Rock I think is easily the best of them by far. It's super dangerous Jerk Room. Being immune to Intimidate is crazy in this gen. And, you know... Yeah, honestly, I kind of was like, damn, why not? This guy would have gone so well on my team too, honestly. Like, he's kind of crazy. But, like, yeah, no, that was a great pick on your end. I would have never thought to grab this guy. And then we have Gallade for Haruhi's next pick. I honestly have no idea why they went for this, and spoiler, they ended up trading it out, like, literally when the transactions opened up yesterday, so,
Yeah,
I don't know. It does get Ally Switch, I guess. I don't really know what it's doing with it, but he sure does get Ally Switch.
Yeah, I think we just sort of skim over this one.
Yeah.
Wrap this up, yeah.
Next, we got Kiki. With her next 2 picks of Charizard, obviously for Sun. This is one of the most dangerous Sun Sweepers last.
Yeah. Just sweeping up all the starters, basically, at this point. And
then the boy Cottony. Honestly, really, really good. It's a T5 prankster guy, and while it's one of the slower prankster users, which is you open the taunt stuff, getting hit by it, it gets every single move that Whimsicott gets besides Hurricane, which you would never use on this thing anyways. And yeah, I think it's honestly like the best value pick that you could grab, potentially. It's very strong and gives her tailwind options and everything else that this thing gets. It's super dangerous. Can heal itself with priority synthesis in the sun for 75%. It's crazy. Yeah. I think it's very good.
It could be a problem for sure.
Yeah, this thing's... And also you deal light, so you have bulk still, and aren't just completely, like, a piece of paper.
There is a trade-off for, like, mental herb, but it's still an option you can have.
Yeah. And then Haruhi grabs...
Speaking of budget T5 picks, yeah.
Right. Snover, who can... Yeah, Snover is part of what Casey used to win last time with their Kyurem Black team. Allowing them to spam crazy blizzards and just freeze people to death and like murder everyone. Honestly, a really solid T5 pick. You can't just leave on the field because it gets a Grass Whistle to put stuff to sleep and can actually still do damage with its own blizzards. It's really annoying. Really, really, really annoying guy. But yeah, with Kyurem, it's a very strong pick on their end. And then next we grab your next pick.
Yep, which the draft at that point had gone on for like about 11 hours, so I'd had to go to sleep. So I had to delegate this one to Reggie to make this pick for me.
Yeah.
Which, this was my sort of reaction to, since Clefable was taken, I decided I wanted to grab Clefairy for like a Magic Guard, potential like redirection, other support stuff, like Friend Guard, I mean. And admittedly this wasn't the best choice for me, and I did end up trading this out. Because this also kind of threw off my last few picks, because Clefairy was, due to the fact that it does have Friend Guards, it was placed a tier higher, so this, taking Clefairy over Clefable meant I had to downgrade one of my other T3 picks into a T4. So yeah. I mean, like I said, I traded this out, so I don't really have too much more to elaborate on this one. But yeah, Clefairy's not a bad option, like, on paper. It just wasn't really, like, the right fit for my team.
Yeah. And with that, we go to my next pick. Not a villain herself, but the lap dog, or I guess the lap fox, mob boss pet of Heatran, Vulpix, who is, again, not a villain, absolute asshole pet who will do everything in her power to protect her master. But yeah, no, I wanted to grab Vulpix to have another weather bot, because it helps my team isn't like really sun focused at all, but it helps Heatran potentially do nuclear damage sometimes. and it gives me a way of setting permanent weather myself, which could be better against, for stopping other weather teams. Also, Vulpix does get some stuff that makes it so it's not, you can't really just leave it sitting on the field too much, or it will be really annoying and really disrupt the enemy. So it has some shice to it, but yeah, obviously it's a Vulpix. It doesn't have a whole lot going for it. It's not like it's gonna do that much damage at all. But yeah, I wanted to make sure I picked this up. Also, it's honestly one of the better T5 picks left at this point. So yeah, the next one is Shroomer's second to last pick, Driftblim, which he's drafted before. I still have no idea what he's going for with this team, but it does get unburdened.
Driftblim does have like some options. Yeah, it's got like just like a lot of health basically. Like you can, I'm pretty sure it gets stockpile.
It gets stockpile. It gets unburden. It does get flying gym acrobatics, which is insane with unburden, and flare boost as well.
Yeah.
So honestly in draft, I think Driplin's like actually a solid mon in general.
Yeah, it could be useful to counter some teams, but
yeah,
we'll see how it gets used.
Yeah, we will see. Swiggus drafting one of the most heatest picks I've ever seen in T5, Munchlax. If you have never looked at Munchlax's base stats before, they are way higher than you'd expect. It has base 135 HP. It has like a usable 85 attack. It is the slowest mon ever, so it's anti-Trick Room, because it's just like you just are the slowest guy. You're like 5 base speed, so it can like counter Trick Room. It's actually very dangerous. At least for Trick Room teams. I know if we're not Trick Room, they ain't shit. But like, it also gets Thick Fat to protect Bloomer from both Sun teams and Hail teams, which is what he was worried about.
Yeah, as we're getting down to these like last 2 picks in each team, I feel like a lot of the time it's just gonna be a case of like people picking like their mandatory T5s or like whatever they have left to spend their points on, because at this point trying to plan for a full team of 10 is kind of like a fool's errand, because there's so much chance that your stuff will just get sniped and you'll have to like make concessions or swap out.
Exactly.
So I feel like there's not much point like super deeply analyzing how these fit into people's teams unless it's like very apparent.
Yeah, this one is less apparent. This is like
this isn't a Trick Room team, so I'm not sure how much use Munchlax will get unless like being brought against other potential Trick Room teams.
Oh yeah, no, and that was one of the reasons he grabbed it, because it counters a lot of really common team archetypes, I guess. So it's very interesting, a lot more interesting than the first pick. Fire grabs Aron for level 1.
The sick 4 times weakness shared with actually it's got 2 actually, isn't it? Because it's rock and steel, so it's ground and fighting.
It sure does. So last time you used this to destroy people with level 1 in Berry Juice Endeavor strats, and it worked. Yeah. And then everyone proceeded to bring double kick, bullet seed, the most stupid fucking multi-hit moves to deal with it.
Yeah.
I ran Bullet Seed, Sceptile, and Double Kick Blaziken to beat it in our original match. It was so stupid. Xander grabs the Lad, Kling Klang, which has minus synergy with Magnetric. If you stack 2 minuses or 2 pluses in Gen 5 and onwards, it still gives you the special attack boost. You don't need both separate abilities.
Yeah, I sort of consider Kling Klang as like a Trick Room option, but overall it does feel a bit more like supported to just like going fast.
Yeah.
Especially like it's like signature moves.
Oh yeah. And then we have his final pick, Shedinja, which is really annoying to deal with on a rain team, because a lot of moves that water types are weak to are not what Shedinja is weak to. So this is going to be really annoying to deal with.
Plus it's also, as long as Politoed's alive, it's got the option of just like negating rain or sand or hail.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Politoed covers it very well.
Because I'm pretty sure safety goggles don't exist in this gen yet.
Nope. No safety goggles. And no boots, obviously.
Yeah, so this one's going to be like very much a situational bring for teams that don't have like obvious hazard setters.
Exactly. And then we have our boy Fire Festival going with his last pick in Probo Pass.
Yet another 4 times weakness carrier, again rock and steel.
What is this man
cooking?
Yeah, I don't know what he's cooking. I don't know.
Like, I mean, obviously, it's just stacking up on like steel types, things that like aren't gonna get damaged by the sandstorm. Like, once you account for Magic Guard Uncle Fable, his entire team can just like happily sit in the Sandstorm for as long as he needs it to. But at the same time, yeah, this is a lot of like overlapping weakness.
Yeah. Please, Fire. I will imagine we'll probably be using transactions.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, hopefully, Fire, please. Swiggus grabbing Excelgor, super dangerous mon, one of the fastest guys, final Gambitter. Way more dangerous than it looks on paper.
Yeah.
Definitely one to watch out for. I got obliterated by this in my playoffs round last season. It was a huge
super
problem.
fast acid spray as well for that, like, you know, both breaking focus sash and dropping special defense massively.
Yeah, this thing is
definitely something to worry out for.
This thing's a menace. Honestly, one of the better T4s for sure. Shroomer then grabs Throw. Also, this GIF is incredible. Scraggy just getting completely obliterated. And finally, my last pick, which I literally put a $100 bet on the server for if they could guess what my final T5 was. And no one did. Not one person on this earth did. And it was our final member of the organization. Originally a serial killer in Nacreen City, recruited by our shadow organization to become one of our best cleaner hit women, Swoobat. And I have found, while we were tiering a completely different mon, in a completely different tier, I noticed a move it got. And then I noticed that another guy, Swoobat, also got it. And conjunctions with its very specific stats could be actually completely broken on my team. It might also be totally worthless, but this thing does get a lot of really interesting support. It gives me another fast option to run, and it has some very nice additional tech that is a lot more consistent, that could kind of catch some people really off guard and lead to some hilarious outcomes. So this is my self-indulgent, like, I'm definitely going to be cooking way too hard with this mod pick, basically. It might be overcooked, but we will see. And then your final pick, Tablet.
Yep, my final pick, Killer Fish from San Diego. This was my, like, this, due to the fact that I could no longer take Slowbro due to taking Fairy, this was my sort of effective substitute. Just having a Pokemon that could, you know, abuse Regenerator, come in, use like Heal Pulse, use Wish, all those kinds of things, but yeah, spoiler alert, I did end up trading out as well. Like, so like both my last two picks were kind of just like last minute, I should just take these and I'll work with it later.
Yeah. And honestly, super fat water type, the current queen of NU in Gen 5 singles.
Similar to Clefairy, it's not inherently a bad Pokemon. Like, if I see this on someone else's team, I'll be like scared of it. But at the same time, it just wasn't really like fit super well on my team, so I already had other things that sort of did its job in a way. Yeah.
I also just love how you're going with the illegal, crazy lab experiment theme, and then you're just like, Killer Fish from San Diego.
Yeah, of course.
It's incredible.
The most dangerous weapon.
And then we had Haruhi's last pick in Smeargle, who does not get Dark Void. Dark Void is banned. That's also why Darkrai is a draftable mon in T2. This thing is a lot more annoying and dangerous than I gave it credit for. Thinking on paper, without Dark Void, it still gets support. It still gets tons of annoying support moves.
Still gets literally everything, basically.
Literally every move. Besides maybe Chatter. I don't know if it gets Chatter this gen yet, but yeah. Insane. And then we get our last pick from Kiki, Magnezone, to round out her Sun team. Honestly, very good pick, in my opinion, especially since it's only a T4. Honestly, that's a bargain pick, I'm not gonna lie. That's a great value steal.
Yeah.
Super dangerous mon, does a million damage, good typing profile.
Yeah.
Besides the 4x ground weakness, but still.
Doesn't particularly synergize well on like the Sun team, but potentially as like a counter rain pick, definitely not a bad option.
Oh yeah, counter rain pick, this thing goes crazy. Will get absolutely melted by fire. But yeah.
Yeah.
Besides that, I mean, it's not like fire coverage is super common outside of the main Sun guys you bring anyways, so. Anyways, with that, those picks went as fast as an Electrode's Volt Switch. No, but like literally, we finished this in like a day. It was insane how fast we got this done. The fastest draft of all time. Driftveil took a bit longer. I think it took them like 2 or 3 days, but still, it was honestly wild.
It didn't end until like Saturday afternoon, and this one ended on like Saturday morning.
Yeah, and we started on like the Thursday at noon, basically. But yeah, it was partially due to me informing people if their desired picks were going to be chosen and they couldn't really do anything to stop it. And so they built their teams around other stuff instead, which helped them a lot. And a lot of people were actually really appreciative because then they got to not be screwed for super long. And also due to people actually leaving their picks with mods. So thank you, everybody. Thank you for leaving your picks with mods on the other side so that we could keep the draft flowing. But yeah, with that, that's the end of the Nimbassa original draft. But I will say, one interesting thing is that Tablet, I actually didn't do any transactions. I somehow had none of my mons snipe for me this entire time. Like, despite all odds, this is the first time I've ever drafted a team where every guy I wanted for every slot, no one was taken. For my first choices. It's actually crazy. So I actually haven't used any transactions yet of our extra 2 week 0 transactions, but Tablet has, and I will show that now.
After like, a little bit of initial sparring and like reconsidering like what was still left on the table, I went for 3 pretty basic transactions. I replaced Clefairy with Slowbro, I replaced Alomomola with Magmar, and I swapped out my T1 Amoonguss pick for Metagross.
Yeah, he was lacking in the offense department, and honestly, Metagross can work very fine in Trick Room with the right spreads and everything, and also it's very, very, very strong.
My main concern is that Genesect is good, but it's like a bit too fast, and if I want to be keeping Trick Room up, like having a fast attacker is like not a bad idea inherently for either, you know, opening the game with aggressively or like keeping in the back until it's like time to sweep up.
Yeah.
But I feel like having like Metagross as well for like presence during Trick Room will give me like a lot more utility, because like in addition to like the low speed, it's also like it doesn't share like the same crippling weakness that Genesect has, so I feel a lot more comfortable sort of keeping it on the field to actually do stuff.
Yeah.
In the same vein, you know, I already have like a redirector I had a redirector in the form of both Amoonguss and Clefairy, which was like a little bit kind of like redundant in a sense. And again, I only picked Clefairy because Clefable was taken, and Clefairy doesn't do the same job as Clefable, like, at all. Like, it doesn't get unaware, and it's very much more just support-oriented. So, I swapped out Clefairy for Slowbro, so I could, you know, have like a bit of a sort of bulky water type, have some water offensive, and just another potential Trick Room setter. It also gets Heal Pulse as well, which is partly why I discarded Alomomola. And then I brought in Magmar to sort of take up the mantle of a redirector, so I can get the flame body burns, I can take advantage of Eviolite, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And then of course, with that in play, I decided to also just discard Amoonguss, so I don't have like the other redirector, and that allows me to just bring in more offense as Metagross.
Yeah, and I think it'll probably be a better fit just because, yeah, you were lacking in offense, and now you've got a really strong pick that can also take more advantage of Trick Room, and you know, I think Magmar is a really good fit because, again, you don't have a fire type. You don't really have any, like, you don't have that many ground weaknesses. It's just Metagross and Regirock, but Regirock is he really weak to like physical ground moves when this man has a base 200 defense stat? Not really.
Yeah, like base 200 defense stats, 80 HP. I can like stack up with like Curse and all that stuff. I'm pretty sure I'll be fine in that regard.
Yeah, exactly. So. Yeah, so that's the updated...
I think my type coverage is pretty good.
Yeah, you've got great type coverage. Yeah, so... Yeah, I mean, with that is the Nimbassa draft completed. My team is still, again, the same. I'm really excited to try it out. The sparring has made me even more excited, honestly. But, yeah, this is going to be a very interesting set of matches. I will be up against Shermer Week 1 again. Tablet, who's your first guy?
I've immediately forgotten. I'll quickly double check. That one was... My first guy is Swiggus.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, I've got to go against, like, the super versatile, you know, Hitmontop, like, Thundurus, Garchomp, Victini. I'm going to have a terrible first match, I can just tell.
Nah, I mean, okay, you have to somehow figure out how to kill that Victini. That's a huge problem, actually.
Oh, yeah.
That guy is super, super strong against your biggest two guys, but yeah. I think it's doable. We will be in the lab sparring anyways. But yeah, with that, I think that's it. So, where can we find you, Mr. Tablet?
Well, of course, I'll be probably posting my like battle recaps over on my channel. Good old canned wolf meat incorporated trademark. Yeah, just on YouTube. I have a channel.
His draft videos are great. They're fantastic. His music choices are great. His editing is fantastic. His sometimes pre-battle live recorded segments are incredible. So yeah, would absolutely recommend checking out Tablet stuff. I'll link his draft playlist, whatever it's created, in the video description here too. Yeah, his stuff is great. I'm gonna be watching all of his stuff as he posts them. It'll be a fun time.
Yeah, so you can learn all my secrets and effectively counter me in our fated rematch.
But yeah, that's gonna be very fun. That's on week 7. Woo! Again, actually, that's funny. We're week 7.
Oh yeah, it is. We got a lot of time.
Oh yeah, this is gonna be great. I'm really excited. But yeah, all right then. Yeah, that's it, guys. Keep an eye out for the next one for Driftvale draft recap as well. This should be.
Yeah.
That one's also crazy.
Until our next match, we're blasting off again, I guess.
Right. All you crazy cats, stay safe in this crazy, imperfect world, where you just might find yourself another victim of circumstance. Anyways, bye!
Bye!